This video is for you if you have $10,000 or more in IRS back tax debt and are looking for the best possible solution. This is only if you have $10,000 or more in IRS back tax issues, or maybe you're audited and you have a tax situation that you need the best possible solution with. My name is Eric Pemper, and for over the last 16 years, I've been helping people as part of CuraDebt to help resolve their financial issues, specifically with debt. What I want to do is share with you today some different type of options when you have $10,000 or more in IRS tax debt. First of all, I want to talk about the urgency in taking action now. Whether you take action with us or you take action elsewhere, you need to act fast. If you've gotten any type of notice from the IRS that you owe in excess of that amount, $10,000 or more, or even the state, you need to act now. This isn't something that if you, quote, hide from it, it's going to go away. We have a lot of cases where people call us and they say they've been garnished or levied. Levied is where they freeze your bank account, the whole balance, and the bank has to send it to the IRS. And if you're levied, that means, if you're garnished, that means that part of your paycheck or your income is being taken every single month. We've seen cases where the IRS is garnishing, meaning taking 100% of your pay, of the client's pay. How would you like to have 100% of your pay, your next paycheck, be frozen to the IRS? How would you like it when you write a check or you go to the grocery store and you want to pay for some food and you can't use your Visa debit card because your bank account's been frozen? That's the kind of situation that we have people come to us all the time. Can we act quickly? Can we get a solution in place? Can we get garnishments released and levies lifted? Absolutely. However, the stress these people are in and just the sleepless nights and the conversations and the situation, it's not anything that I wish for anybody. And I want you to have the peace of mind. Some people say, well, the IRS has to send all of these series of different letters and then the final one is a levy or garnishment notice. Well, yes, but they're using postal mail. And this is everyone's on the internet. They're using Snapchat, they're using Facebook, they're using email. We're communication at the speed of light, yet they're sending mail. Well, not all letters arrive. So knowing that risk, and there are cases too we've seen when people wait so long, or they try to do things themselves, and I'll talk about the different options momentarily, and it gets so bad that really it's out of our realm. We don't handle criminal issues. And we've seen in the history very small cases, a small number of cases where people they've waited so long that it's basically at a point where we don't touch it. We don't handle criminal. Audits, civil, everything we take care of phenomenally well. So what are your resolution options? We've addressed the fact that you need to resolve it. Tax debt, it needs to be resolved. It's not something you wait on or you say, oh, tomorrow. No, let's get it done today. It's a serious matter, and the IRS or the state, they can levy or garnish without having to go through a normal legal proceedings that unsecured creditors, for example, have to do. The first one is do it yourself. I'm going to say that if you are a tax professional or if you are an enrolled agent, you have experience with the exact type of scenario that you have, then do it yourself. Okay? But if you don't do it yourself. It's not worth it. We see so many people who have done things. For example, they've provided financials to a revenue officer. A revenue officer is the name of a collector for the IRS. And they provided incorrect financials. Then we have to go back and explain to the revenue officer that these financials they provided that made it seem like they could afford a much higher amount were wrong. But then the revenue officer can literally say, well, but it was provided under the penalty of perjury. So you get a sense of how messy things can be. However, we're generally successful in correcting those types of issues. However, the question is that if you know that you have a certain area that you are very knowledgeable in, why would you start from zero in something that's so delicate that you only have one chance to do it right? It's a concept of you only have one chance to make a great first impression. It's the same concept that once information is provided to the IRS and they treat you with the same standard as if you were a tax attorney or CPA, it even gets a little bit more challenging. Let's say that you call, or you want to try to do it yourself and call the IRS and ask them for advice. Well, if they give you incorrect advice, you can't use that as a reason for having made that mistake. The tax code is hundreds of thousands of pages. So you get a sense that this is a very deep and complex area. That's why we turn to professionals. You can go to a local CPA, and let's talk about local CPAs, okay? A CPA is a certified public accountant, and we have, I believe, some of the absolute best CPAs. And you know what? Most of the CPAs that we work with, they won't do tax resolutions. They'll do tax returns. And out of hundreds and hundreds of CPAs that I've either worked with or evaluated, it's a handful that are actually ones I would say are excellent. A lot of CPAs are overworked. They're charging, they're competing on price, and because they're competing on price, they have too many clients and they have too much work, and it requires a lot of attention to detail. A CPA, maybe he's a close friend of yours, maybe he's the local one you've always used. However, if he hasn't worked at the IRS for 25 plus years, on the other side, he doesn't have experience resolving hundreds or thousands of tax type of resolutions, of every type of resolution, then keep him as a great friend, but he's not the person you need. Think of it like this, tax is like surgery. You want to go with the best doctor who has a fair price with ideally something in writing guaranteeing something, as well as one that has the experience doing the exact procedure you need numerous times before, and who has procedures and a checklist so that every time the same things are done to ensure success. Because success is a repeatable process. So a tax attorney, there are some good tax attorneys out there. However, the challenge with most tax attorneys is that they charge an hourly rate. For example, I've worked with some tax attorneys that charge as much as $500 per hour. And they were in the tax area, very specialized areas. The issue though is that, well, tax work could take 1 hour or 10 hours. What you need is to be protected and to have a flat fee for whatever the work that's being done. In other words, you don't want to have to open up your pocketbook to be billed for 10 hours at $500 per hour when that could have been done for a flat fee, regardless of how many hours it took, based on what it should have taken. So, while there are some good tax attorneys, the concern is the hourly billing typically, as well as the lack of a team. In other words, a tax attorney could have had a great education at the university, but the tax code is continually changing. And it requires a team, not just one person, but really a team to provide you the best possible results. And the other question is has this tax attorney actually worked at the IRS inside? If they haven't, then they're still coming from the outside, and they're likely not going to have the level of experience somebody who actually worked inside the IRS would have, and that they're going to get you a lot better results. We talked about doing nothing. That can, and it does, result in levies, garnishments. If the issue is extremely strong and serious, it could be referred to the criminal division for criminal pursuit. There's also different types of issues in terms of states, and they can go after your property even faster. They can post your name online if it goes over a certain amount. It's just bad news. Take care of it now. Have peace of mind tonight is my attitude. So what you need though is a tax resolution firm, and you need to make sure that they have ex-IRS agents. At CuraDebt, we have an excess in total of over 100 years of cumulative between all of the different enrolled agents. I'm not saying you have to go with CuraDebt Tax. That would be great. However, whatever firm you do choose to work with, make sure that they have and that your case is actually going to be handled by that person, someone who has the experience of previously working at the IRS. Some of them sometimes have contacts. Sometimes they know the person they're speaking with. They know what's like on the other side, because oftentimes there's negotiation that needs to go on in order to get the best possible result. Sometimes the client has done things they shouldn't have, and we need to back up a little bit and get things going the right way. It makes a phenomenal difference. It truly is very, very important. Next, there needs to be a three-phased approach. I'll give you an example from a situation. Is that this individual, they realized that a tax attorney, CPA they had hired had really messed things up really bad for over 8 years. And it was really a lot of money and a lot of personal and business returns. So they went to a law firm / CPA, and they started billing the person hourly to do the latest year's return to fix them. And they paid thousands and thousands of dollars. And then they realized, oh, but the prior year was wrong too. So then they've had to pay them to amend the prior year. And then they realized, now you can get an idea of the billing was quite high. Then they realized that every year there are rollover things, something that, for example, deduction from the prior year, you roll over to the next year and the next year. So basically they realized that everything that they just paid for, they had to redo it anyways, because they had to start at the start of everything. And this firm was willing to hop in, start charging and billing. However, it was really not in the person's best interest. They ended up paying thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more than they should. So a three-phased approach is phase one is what's called an investigation, which is to look at everything. Sometimes a resolution isn't even needed. In some cases, what we've done is, for example, we've either corrected and amended, or we've filed missing returns. And I remember in some cases, the individual actually gets money back in excess of what the fees were. So it was and they had the peace of mind that the tax issue was resolved. It's going to depend on every case is going to be different, but you have to look at everything at once to avoid doing work that didn't need to be done. Or for example, if one goes to a company and hops in and starts doing things, let's say they amend a return, they refile it or amend it, that was nearing the statute of limitations for collections by the IRS. In other words, you didn't need maybe in 3 months, you wouldn't have needed to pay anything, but they refile it to correct something, and then the statute of limitations starts again. And now you're definitely going to have to pay for that. There's so many cases where maybe the notice is the tip of the iceberg, but there's really some other issues. Let's deal with it all at once. The whole goal here is to resolve it, not solve this and this. I mean, maybe you've seen the game where something pops up and you hit it and it goes away, then another one and another one. That's what it's like if one doesn't do an investigation. The other issue is that there's a lot of different types of resolutions, and it's important to evaluate to see which ones you qualify for, as well as penalty abatement, and make sure your financials are perfect before submitting anything, before starting work. It's like if you're going to build this incredible palace, you're not going to start at the windows or the decorations inside. You want the foundation. You can think of it as a foundation is you need to look at everything, pull the transcripts, pull the master file, the income, what the IRS or the state has on terms of income, maybe look at if there was a business involved, look at the business situation, look at everything that's involved, make sure the financials are maximizing your allowable deductions for where you live, your situation, and then evaluate every single possible resolution option and recommend what would be the best one and the other options, the pros and cons, before hopping in and, for example, doing surgery. It's like if you're going to go in for surgery, you don't want the doctor to just, oh, can you do surgery? Sure, here's the knife. Pretty scary. However, if you say, okay, let's do a lot of basic exams, diagnostics, and see if you are going to even need the surgery or if there is another option. That's what's going to get you the best possible results. So what are some common resolutions? We can amend the returns. There's called an installment agreement, a partial payment installment agreement, a streamlined installment agreement, currently non-collectible, offer and compromise, file the missing returns, and then there's audit defense and all types of other types of resolutions. There's custom resolutions as well based on the unique situation, especially when businesses are involved. And we've had some phenomenal success. And you can look on the website. You can click over to below this video and look on our website and look at many of the different types of cases they've come in and the types of resolutions that have been obtained. So in summary, if you have $10,000 more or more in tax debt to the IRS or the state, you need to take action. Whether you take action with us or someone else, you need to get it taken care of as quickly as possible. Second, whatever company you choose to work with, whether it's us or someone else, you need to make sure that the person who's going to ultimately be handling your file has the experience. Just because someone's a CPA doesn't mean they know and have the experience in tax resolution. Just because they're an enrolled agent doesn't mean they have experience. The ultimate would be someone who's done hundreds to thousands of every type of resolution. Because if they only know one type of resolution, then that's the only thing you're going to get. For example, if they've only done installment agreements, well, maybe you could qualify for a currently non-collectible, which is where you're not paying anything per month until the debt expires. Or maybe if they don't have a lot of experience in preparing offer and compromise, it gets denied. However, if the person's done hundreds to thousands, especially if they've worked at the IRS before, then that's going to make a phenomenal difference in terms of the likelihood of success for you. You'll see below this video there's a link where you can click and submit your information to see if you qualify for the program. And it's quick, it's no obligation, there's no it's 100% private. We don't share any of the information. It's just to see if you qualify and to give you some more information about how the program works. Just ultimately see, is this a match? Can we help you? And or can we give you some good information so that at least you're better off after speaking with us than you were before. My heart goes out to you if you have IRS or tax debt, and I can say that once there is a resolution in place or once you know you're working with the best company out there, you're going to have that immediate peace of mind. And that's really, really important. And then when it's finally resolved, you'll have even more peace of mind. And that's really what our mission is to provide that at the absolute best possible service that's out there. And I truly think that we are doing it, and our clients tell us the same. I wish you an excellent day. I look forward to assisting you when you submit your information below. And a lot of blessings, and thank you.